This is episode 312, recorded January 15th, 2016. Packard pokes at Brattish behavior cut short Atheist Invocation. I want to thank Dawkins Dog from the chat room for this week's show title.
What time is it? It's Packard pokes at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining me tonight from the far East Coast is Joe Unseen.
Hello, hello, hello.
So how are you doing tonight, Joe?
I'm good.
Good. It's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yeah, ages.
Yes. What have you been doing with yourself besides no good?
I was living in a cave.
Ah, that's usually what happens.
Yeah, it was bad Wi-Fi in the cave.
I kind of figured as much.
I was writing emails by chiseling into stone tablets.
No wonder my mail was so heavy.
Yes.
You like crack, I like crack, everybody likes crack.
Crack's my name, and that's what it is.
Hang out the banners, beat the drum, we'll take crack to Washington.
Recently, President Obama gave the State of the Union address, and some Republicans did not like the way he presented it to them. Wasn't his policies? No. It wasn't the way he presented his policies? A little bit. Because he was using, oh my gosh, his religious knowledge to kind of use that to beat Republicans over the head with it, and they didn't like it too much. The Tea Party lawmaker from Virginia pretty much attacked the president, Barack Obama, for citing the Bible to criticize Republicans, who he argues owns Christianity. Just let that roll around in your head for just a few moments. He thinks because he's white and the president is black that he's not allowed to use these magic words. Representative Dave Bratt, no, not kidding, that's his real fucking name, appeared Monday on the American Family Radio program. Now, if you are familiar with the American Family Association, they're a very secretive right-wing Christian organization who has, people like Brian Fucktard Fisher on it and a few other people like that on there. And they like to keep all their little dealings with the government and Republicans on the down low as much as possible when they, try to give them money and shit. So they, try to keep the Republicans in power so they can promote their crazy-ass religious ideas. The program in this instance was hosted by Sandy Rios, where he complained that the president was citing Christian teachings to hammer the GOP, elected officials, and candidates who tried to block the settlement of the Syrian refugee situation. His actual quote here is, he's using the Christian tradition and trying to bring about compassion by bonking Republicans over the head with the Bible. Bonking them over the heads. He must have been watching cartoons beforehand because I think that's the level of his intelligence. It's almost a comedy routine on what compassion and love is. Because we all know compassion and love goes hand in hand with Republicans. I'm just saying. He continues here. He's mocking his enemies in order to compel a larger federal state using the tradition of love. Can you just... Your heart's just bleeding and breaking for him now. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, he's right. And that's all I got. No, I mean, I think it's kind of funny that he seems to think that the entire religion of Christianity is the property of the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. There aren't any Democrat Christians.
Apparently not.
But, the majority of all the people in the United States are Christian, and the majority of the Democrats are Christian. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, you can watch endless YouTube clips of Obama citing scripture multiple times. He usually does it around like Easter. He'll actually just quote scripture.
Yep.
And he's one that I go out on a limb on this. He's probably actually read the damn stuff.
It could be. Yeah.
As opposed to what many people of that persuasion do is not read it.
No, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's such a classic gotcha. Like whenever they thump the Bible or anything and somebody says, well, what's your favorite passage? Like even recently, Donald Trump couldn't answer that. He was like, well, my favorite, you shouldn't question someone like that. It's like, oh, really?
I'm surprised he just didn't do the old standby. Oh, well, it's John 3:16. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't even name one on the spot. Like, whoa,
He could have just said Genesis 1. And that's all. And he goes, well, that's my favorite passage, Genesis 1, in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. There's so many easy ways out of that.
Yeah.
And he could not do it. But
he could have just pulled a Sarah Palin and said, well, all of them.
The ones with words.
The ones with words in them, yeah.
Underneath the pictures.
He also went on to say, now this is true, he says, our side, the conservative side, needs to re-educate its people that we can own the entire tradition. He thinks that the Bible is also part of his tradition. The key word there is re-educate. How they use the scare word. Well, the Obama's coming for you, and he's going to use re-education camps. But he just said he wants to re-educate his people. I could just see the Bible re-education camps for the Republican Party.
Well, I mean, it is part of his personal tradition, but him and people like him don't own the entire tradition. They don't own the entire religion. The religion is actually pretty diverse.
It is.
There's something like 34,000 sects of Christianity in the world, and
Yep.
they don't all agree on not only what the Bibles say or what the passages mean.
Yep.
They don't even agree on what kind of books are included in their canon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So
actually, it's like more closer to 35 to 38,000 different sects.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. He also continued, said, if you lose the moral argument, you lose the policy argument every time. So we need to reclaim the moral argument. So we're so strong. These guys think they're strong on morality? Have they actually looked at their party lately? I mean, really. You got your right-wing Republicans are going off to, I don't know, Brazil and to hook up with a lady down there and say, oh, I was on the trail. I was on the Appalachian Trail. Appalachian Trail, for one. And or doing all kinds of drugs, or hooking up with their staffers. So their idea of morality, no. I have more morality in my little pinky, and you don't want to know where that's been.
Well, it's not even like the morality that you would find in the Bible is anything that you would want to live by anyway.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, we've talked about that countless times on the show as well.
Oh, absolutely we have. There's things in the Bible I don't consider moral. But that's a whole topic for another day.
Teach me how to be sensible, logical, or responsible.
And tonight we have our logical fallacy game. And Joe loves the logical fallacies, don't you, Joe?
I'm so good at this game.
Our logical fallacy question for tonight is, a theory can mean an unproven idea. Scientists use the term evolution theory. Therefore, evolution is an unproven idea. Is this A, suppressed evidence, B, undistributed middle, C, appeal to ignorance, or D, ad hominem?
I'd have to say appeal to ignorance.
Let's see what the audience says. We have 2 for C. We have 1 for B. I think that's all we're going to get for the chat room tonight.
Paul Marshall says it's an equivocation.
Yes, that's what he says. He says it's the equivocation. Let's find out what it is. It is actually B, undistributed middle, assuming because 2 things share a property that makes them the same. He was absolutely right.
Is that what equivocation means?
Yep.
Oh.
It's an equivocation fallacy.
I've been trying to find more information on equivocation fallacy.
Yeah, it's basically, if you break down the words, like equivalent.
Yeah.
So,
I know it's a form of like intellectual dishonesty, like you compare two things and then
yeah, but you try to assume that because they share a certain thing. It's like saying highways and tertiary roads are made of pavement, therefore they're all highways.
Right. Okay, I got that.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it right there. So they're all highways now, so you can all drive 65, 70 miles an hour on them. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I live on a dirt highway.
Right. I hate living on the dirt highway.
Yeah, especially when you're doing 70 on the dirt highway. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that gets terrifying after that speed.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @PackardPokesat. Like us on Facebook.com/PackardPokesat. Call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at vonlive.tv/PackardPokesat. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/PackardPokesat. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/PackardPokesat or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/PackardPokesat. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass!
Bart, would you like to say grace?
Dear God, we pay for all this stuff ourselves, so thanks for nothing.
In politics, especially smaller government politics, they try to put in religious invocations into the meetings right before they start because they cite that it's tradition to do so. And the Supreme Court recently said, and I think it was the Supreme Court, at least in one state it was, of that state, said, you know what we're going to do is we're going to allow prayers at city meetings and things like that, but you have to be a little bit more inclusive and allow people of other faiths to have their say as well. In Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the mayor, Warren Gauch, I think it's pronounced Gauch, it's Gooch, I can't pronounce, I'm not sure if that's what it is, Gosh, whatever. And some of his city fellow council members gave a harsh reception to an atheist recently who encouraged them to be more inclusive in her invocation on Monday's council meeting. The Knoxville, Tennessee reported, Knoxville News Sentinel reported, The footage from the meeting says that Gauch, cutting Alita Ledendecker off as she says, the council is a civil body, not a religious one, so it should be recognized that secular authority in government is not only sufficient, but preferable. Now, his claim is that she went over time, because there is time limits in these meetings, and her invocation should not lasted any longer than 3 minutes. But they went back to the video, since Republicans have a tendency, and a lot of Godbothers out there, have a tendency to forget that we have this thing called recordings, and we can go back and look at those recordings and measure them and time shit out. And apparently she had been cut off after just 2 minutes and 23 seconds. And it took me less than 10 seconds to read that little last bit. So the fact is that he's using this as an excuse to cut atheists off at the knees because, hey, we would like to have a say too, since you're going to shove this religion shit down our throats and you've somehow mangled our court systems to allow this crap, then we're going to, fight you on this a little bit. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a Supreme Court ruling. It happened in 2004.
Okay.
And it was a small town in upstate New York. I thought it was Athens, New York, but I think it's called Greece, New York. I don't know. One of those towns. I can't find that part. But yeah, someone sued to have the invocation stopped at the town council, and the Supreme Court ruled no, they can do that. That's fine, but they have to be inclusive of other religions and non-religions. And so now I know a lot of secular groups around the country have taken them up on the offer, and they go and try and push that point and see if they can get secular invocations said at town council meetings. And you're right, it's a lot of the local stuff, but they do it at the national level. They have invocations in Congress and all that, which is also absurd and nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the town councils have been okay, whatever, and they allow it. They've allowed like Hindu and Muslim prayer and even Wiccan and Satanists in. But some of these places they just are not happy about it. And a lot of times what I'm hearing from like secular groups that try to do this is they simply don't have anyone to go do it.
Right.
Or like that it might be the same person going from county to county just to do it once,
Yeah.
So.
And you know what's funny is that some of the council members in this instance, Trina Braun and Rick Chin Jr., Chin, he can't take it on the chin, man, protested at Len Becker's appearance because they can't be seen in the video walking out in the middle of her remarks. How many atheists go to these things and are forced to watch this shit, and they sit there while these people babble on about how they love their imaginary sky wizard and how they think that by invoking their magic spell over the city is going to keep their god there, that if they are taking part in an atheist speaking or anybody else speaking of any other religion, that their god is going to go, oh, you can't get into heaven now, or I'm not going to come and save your city because you, Mr. God Botherer, who's up my ass 24/7, was listening to somebody else speak. What it boils down to,
Right.
It's very disrespectful. We have to sit there and do that for them, and if we did that, they consider us disrespectful. But if they do it, that's fine.
Right. It's because some, I won't say everybody, but some people who think that it's a good idea to do this kind of stuff, they think that everyone else is the same religion as them.
Yeah.
And when they find out that that's not the case, then they get really upset about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what do you mean there's other religions,
Yeah. Like, that whole First Amendment, freedom of religion, that you mean there's other people who have religions out there other than mine? Yeah. Now, there's a quote here from Trina Braun. She says, this was not an act of protest, but simply a choice not to participate in something that I believed might assail my beliefs. Oh, my poor beliefs. You said something bad about my beliefs. I don't want to hear reality. I want to live in my glass bubble, and you're making my glass bubble crack.
We need some belief Band-Aids.
I know, right? We had some comments from the chat room here. Real Paul Marshall says, I thought that was Charleston Moses that done that. Oh, I always talk about on tablets there. I guess this is that's a secondary comment from Dawkins' dog. He says the First Amendment was written in stone, very pliable stone.
Why does everyone keep thinking I'm a troll?
We have our True or Troll tonight, and what that is, if you have not caught our show in the past, is that I read headlines ripped from the news sites, and my counterpart here, my co-host Joe tonight, just the title, and he has to tell me if this story is based on a real story or a troll story from a satire site or the like. All right, you ready, Joe?
I love me those satire sites.
All right. First title. Suicidal deer sign should definitely get driver's attention. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
I would say that's probably true because a lot of times road signs are determined by the state and by the Department of Transportation, but sometimes localities, they'll come up with special needs and they'll make funny signs, and you see them on the internet every now and then. So I bet you somewhere somebody, decided to put up a different kind of deer crossing sign.
All right, let's find out. That is correct. That is from the Huffington Post. All right, our next story title here. Admiral fired for questioning Obama. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
That sounds like something that would come out of like WorldNet Daily, which is notorious for posting anti-Obama stories, and they're often not true or based on a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's got a lot of red flags on it. It sounds very much like a troll story.
That is correct. It is a troll story. That is from AmericanNews.com.
Yeah. AmericanNews.com.
Yeah.
It's like you could almost tell just by hearing the web addresses of these things. It's
Yep.
like, oh yeah, that one.
Yep.
Crazy Uncle shares from there all the time.
Yep. Okay, next headline. Bible-toting bank robber on the loose, preying on financial institutions. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
I don't know. It seems plausible, so I would say it's true.
You are correct. You're batting 1,000 so far tonight, Joe.
Woo-hoo.
That is from the Huffington Post. All right, our next headline. Study links binge eating to stress, contentment, depression, joy, boredom, anger, and relaxation. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
Well, considering how health news, especially food news, is reported on the internet, I would say that that's probably a real headline from a real source, although I won't vouch for the findings in the article.
So you're saying it's a true story?
It's probably a true story from a probably true source, but I haven't read the article, so I don't know if I would agree with what they found.
Oh, okay. Let's find out. I'm sorry, that's a troll story. That's from The Onion.
Oh, The Onion. See, The Onion is so good at parodying stuff, so.
Yes, they are. Okay, woman tied to car, dragged to death by Muslim husband because she served dinner late. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
I hope that's not a true story, but I'll say it's a true story.
That is a troll story.
Where'd it come from?
It's from AmericanNews.com.
Oh, the same one. Same
one.
clowns.
Same clowns. Okay, our next headline. Waffle House fires workers for styling their hair with kitchen equipment. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
Oh, fuck yes, that has to be a true story. Yes.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's from the Huffington Post. All
the
right.
most reliable source of information on the internet, the HuffPo.
The HuffPo. All right, our next headline. North Dakota names landfill after Obama. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
If that's true, that's very disrespectful, but it is North Dakota, so I wouldn't put it past them, so I'll say it's probably true.
No, that is a troll story. That is from the Daily Current.
Oh, the Daily Current. Oh, my God. Did I ever send you my list of fake news sites?
I have a whole list of fake news sites.
I should send you my list. It's a good list.
Okay, cool. All right, our next headline. Teen bank robber trapped between electronic doors. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
That doesn't seem fantastic in any way. It sounds plausible, so yeah, I'd say it's true.
That is correct. That is from Yahoo News. All right, warm up your brains for this, everybody. Bristol Palin struggling after post-party depression, sources say. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
I don't know. Again, it's plausible, but I don't know why that would make the news. I don't know. It's probably true, I guess.
No, that's a troll story. That's also from the Daily Current.
The Daily Current. I gotta go look at the Daily Current again because that's a fun website.
Yes. Oregon judge sentences attempted murderer, then presides over his wedding. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
Well, I know when they go to prison, they can still get married in some states. So, I don't know. I guess if it's in the same town and the judge was willing to do it, I don't see why not. So, okay, it's a true story.
That is correct. That is from Fox News.
Oh, best source for news.
I know, right? I was a little tempted myself going, I don't know. But they had several other stories that did prove to be true, so I figured that one was true as well.
I follow all their RSS feeds.
Alrighty. Brazilian women are being kidnapped for their hair due to high demand of weave. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
There's like hundreds of millions of people, I think, living in Brazil. It's like a really populous place. And a lot of the people who live there are poor. Now, if they needed hair that badly, all they would have to do is offer small amounts of money and people would just give it up.
Probably.
Kidnapping someone is a lot of effort. You need a van, you need a ski mask, you need duct tape.
Well, you can rent those, you know.
Yeah, but who wants to go through all that trouble? You could just be like, hey, we're buying hair. People with hair, come, we'll buy your hair. Like, that just seems like it would be easier to buy the hair than to go through all the trouble of kidnapping people. So I'm going to say that's a troll story.
That is correct. That is from Hustlers.com.
Hustlers?
Hustlers.
Is that a porn site?
No, it's not a porn site. It's an actual site. Hustlers. HUZLERS.com. Okay, now we're on to our final one. Passenger takes turkey on flight as emotional support animal. Is this a true story or is this a troll story?
That sounds really unlikely. I'd say that's a troll story.
No, that is correct. That is from the telegraph.co.uk. How well did you do it at home? I hope you followed along and kept your fingers off the Google machine. Alrighty, well, we'll be back next week with our regular longer show. We have a guest lined up, Poisoning the Well from YouTube, and hopefully they will be able to join us, and we'll have them on with us, and I hope you'll come and join us, and we'll have some fun. Until then, this has been Packard Pokes that we just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.